standing outside the door of love and mercy. You wonder if there's a place there for you. You know there's peace inside, but you're still searching for someone who understands the pain you've been through. Spirit waits with open arms, calling out your name. Come on in, welcome home. You are loved and you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in, come on in, come on in. There is room enough in the home of love for someone just like you. Come on in, welcome home. You are loved and you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in, come on in, come on in.
Good morning. So I want to welcome everyone to Unity of London this morning and welcome our first-timers. There is a first-timers table at the back of the sanctuary where you can pick up some information, whatever's on that table, and take the information sheet to the bookstore for a free gift. We also want to welcome anyone who's watching online on our website or Facebook. We're glad that you're joining us this morning. We have a few special announcements. Okay, so the first announcement is about, we have a September 6th, that's a Thursday evening coffee house, starting at 7:30. Jim and Carlin are going to be our guests, the musicians for that. And it's really a sing-along, so come on out, sing along with them, and just have some fun raising our voice and making a joyful sound. And we have a meeting today, right after the service at noon. Will it be in the sanctuary? Okay, and that's for the Love Boat Committee. So that's our fundraiser in the fall, and Wilda is chairing that committee and looking for a lot of volunteers to help out and someone to co-chair with her. So if you're interested in helping sell tickets, arrange a silent auction, do all the things that need to do to make that event successful, please join us here at the sanctuary at noon. And also there is the Canadian Conference. The Canadian Conference is being held in Toronto from September 26th, which is a Wednesday evening, to a Saturday afternoon. And it's a wonderful opportunity to meet people from across Canada in other Unity ministries. Hopefully there'll be about 100 people. The keynote is all day Thursday and then Friday morning. Develop your spiritual maturity, live more authentically, enhance the quality of your relationships and life. Could you use some of that? Yeah, okay. So there's pamphlets that look like this in the fellowship hall, and if you would grab one of those and register ASAP. I'm on the board, and we're looking for people to register soon so that we can plan for that conference. Okay, and I think there was one more. Oh, Paul, yes, of course. So we have an international singer-songwriter coming next Sunday as our guest musician, and he's doing what I'm calling a pop-up concert after the service from noon to 1:30. Pop-up because it's unexpected. I met him at Jack and Teresa's 50th anniversary party, and I asked him, he said he's here till about the 28th of August. I said, well, could you come to Unity of London? And he thought about it and called me and said, yeah, I can do that. So his music, I've been listening to it this week, is just heartwarming. It's so consciousness raising. It's just the most beautiful music. And he's calling it a songversation because he sort of had an awakening when his dad committed suicide. So he's going to talk about his awakening and that his story. So it's $20 suggested love offering, and we would just love to have this place filled. So tell your friends. We've been sharing it on Facebook, so share it, and let's see what we can do. And we'll have some extra sandwiches that day as well for a lunch. Okay, I think that is it. And so, do you know who you are? Do you know that you're welcome here? Yes. That we see your beauty? That we know that you are good and divine? Yes. So I want you to turn to someone and say, there is something beautiful and wonderful about you. I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel the intelligence in you, the love in you, the strength in you, and you have come to set it free. So let's be about this today and share a handshake or a hug with the person. Okay. Okay. Okay, you only talk to one person. Sit down. Yeah. All right. So now that's the truth that we teach here at Unity. We teach about your innate divinity, that we are an expression of all that is. We call it God, infinite wisdom, infinite love, creative intelligence. By whatever name you call it, we express from that. And as true students, we sometimes come across sayings that we adopt and we speak them as if they're truth, but I want to share, I have been sharing some statements, and are they true or do we dare to see them differently? So this week's statement is, not my will, but God's will be done. Have you ever said that? Yeah. Well, it's not my will. Let's God's will be done. We'll do what God wants me to do. So Reverend Paul Hasselbeck writes, this is a Bible-based phrase that assumes God has a specific will for each of us. It assumes our will is separate and different from God's will. And then his next phrase, get over it. While we can cultivate our own willfulness, there is no such thing as a God out there who imposes its will on us. Just take a deep breath in. Yeah. Nor a universe out there imposing its will upon us. Phrases like this keep us stuck trying to figure out what God's will is for us. You hear that, right? I don't know what God's will is. What's God's will? It can keep us mired in the assumption that I'll be happy when I know what God's will is for my life. So he talks about there's really no such thing as God's will as it is traditionally understood, that is somehow separate from our will. Eric Butterworth writes, some persons puzzle over the question, how can one distinguish between divine guidance and divine will, or human will? The very question implies duality, a sense of God out there. Who would or could desire for you something contrary to your personal desires? Divine guidance is not an exterior force acting upon you. It is the seed of your divinity, seeking to fulfill its pattern in the outforming process of your life. I'm going to say that again. Divine guidance is the seed of your divinity, seeking to fulfill its pattern in the outforming process of your life. So it's an inner seed that is trying to express out from us. God could never want for you that which you do not inherently want for yourself. Realize that we have the wherewithal to make choices from the awareness that we are in consciousness in God, one with it. We want to make choices from the Christ, the idea that is made up of ideas, and not from our ego or personality. We hear people say things like, I didn't have a choice, or that person didn't have a choice. Is that true? No. Statements like that abdicate our power and responsibility to manage our lives. So we are not the products of our past or the environment in which we find ourselves. What happens to us is that we are the product of our choices. And so the replacement phrase is, not my willfulness, but my God-mind will be done. My God-mind will be done. This doesn't imply that one should be inactive and indefinite, waiting for understanding, as do many persons who are afraid to act because they may possibly do the wrong thing. It means that understanding will be quickened and the will strengthened by the confidence that comes as a result of knowledge. So there is no separation. There's no God's will and my will. It's me expressing God, mind, will, the oneness, and allowing that to come forth from the seed of our divinity. And so this is the truth. This is the truth. And let us say amen. And let us sing.
There was a time in my life, thought I'd have to do it all for myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. Didn't know the love of God was at hand. Now that I can save you are discouraged, you can make it through another day. You gotta let it go, let it go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am here in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am here in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Foundation is affirmative prayer. If you wish prayer for someone else or for yourself, you're invited to use our prayer box. You can put a first name only on a piece of paper that's right there and place it in the box. There's no need to explain the situation, as God is all-knowing. It will be prayed over here at Unity by our prayer angels for 30 days. And then it will be sent on to Silent Unity for additional prayer. Remember, 24 hours a day, you can call 1-800-NOW-PRAY to reach Silent Unity, where people have been praying with and for people for over 130 years. If you wish private one-on-one prayer, we have a prayer chaplain available to pray with you following today's service. You can meet our prayer chaplain in our prayer room, which is outside the door through the fellowship room and right behind the screen here. And our prayer chaplain today is Sylvia. And please come forward and lead us in prayer.
Okay, so I invite you to center yourself and your thoughts consciously on your heart space, and recognize that that is where each and every one of us are connected, and sweet spirit flows through our hearts. We open our minds and our hearts at this time to hear the words, listen to the music, enjoy fellowship, and know that during this service, each one of us will be inspired and transformed, some in small ways, some in big ways, but it is happening. We take a moment to bless our congregation, those that are with us, those that are not able to be with us, those that are watching us online. And we bless all Unity gatherings today and all spiritual gatherings, for we know that there are many paths to the one and only God. I invite you to take a few moments if there's someone you would like to have additional prayer for, and send them some love. Whisper their names into the space now. And we at Unity know that as we open our hearts to the love, we also give out love, for that is what the world needs and is. We are God. We are love-loving, and so it is.
And now for our message from the Daily Word, brought to you by Silent Unity. Forgive. As I forgive others, I am centered in peace. When Jesus taught his disciples the importance of forgiveness, he was not just speaking of a moral imperative, but of a practical spiritual guide. When I hold on to attitudes of anger, judgment, blame, and resentment towards others, I am weighing down my own consciousness and blocking the free flow of divine energy within and through me. As I choose to forgive, I dissolve the blockage within. Certainly, my choice for forgiveness will have a positive impact on those I forgive, whether or not they consciously recognize and accept it. But I am powerless over others' choices. I am simply left with the opportunity to feel lighter and more loving as I forgive. Truly, as I forgive others, I am centered in peace. And from Matthew, verses 18 to 22, Jesus said to him, "Not 7 times, but I tell you, 7 times, 77 times."
This is a tune by a fellow named Chuck Pyle, who's written a number of beautiful tunes, Unity-related tunes. And this is one Carlin found last week, and we just liked it so much we thought we'd share it with you today. It's called Step by Step. And as you follow the words, and we mentioned last week that they're not up there for you to sing, although if you want to sing, feel free. It's just that many of these songs, we feel the message is really important, so that's why we put the words up there so you can see what the songwriter's trying to communicate. There's an old ancient saying in the wind, one must only take a first step to begin. You're on your way, then you've done the hardest part. Make your journey with a generous heart. Step by step, side by side, hand in hand, this old world's a better ride. Step by step, side by side, take a little step with your neighbor side by side. We stumbled and we've broken our stride, wearing old worn-out boots and foolish pride. We're gonna put on our brand new running shoes. We're gonna race in which no one can really lose. Step by step, side by side, hand in hand, this old world's a better ride. Step by step, side by side, take a little step with your neighbor by your side. If you see me falling down and you stop to lend a hand, what goes around comes round and round and round. And if you run to another for help, it don't mean you can do it for yourself. It just means that your neighbor will know that if he needs help, he'll know where to go. Step by step, hand in hand, this old world's a better ride, understand. Step by step, side by side, take a little step with your neighbors by your side. If we understand the heart's the one true power, and that nothing we see is really ours, but from a satellite we all look like one, I think our world's time may finally have come. Step by step, side by side, hand in hand, this this whole world's a better ride. Step by step, side by side. Take a little step with your neighbor by your side. Sing along if you want. Step by step, side by side, hand in hand, this whole world's a better ride. Step by step, side by side, take a little step with your neighbor, take a little step with your neighbor, take a little step with your neighbor, side by side.
Thank you.
That's Chuck Pyle. Thank you very much.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. So today our guest speaker has been a member of Unity since 2012, though she's been hanging around Unity a lot longer than that. She's been a board member, a board president. She volunteers with Toastmasters. She loves camping or tenting with her husband Dan and her little dog Chipper, a cute little doggy, and loves eating chocolate, reading books, and watching movies. So she's going to share with us based on our theme today on mindfulness. Please welcome Pauline Duncan Thrasher.
Thank you very much, Rev Lori, and it is always a delight to be here. Mindfulness is something that is such an essence of our lives that sometimes we forget to do it. And I know that usually Rev Lori shares a funny story at the beginning. I don't know if this is funny or not, but it happened very recently. And when my mother was alive, she used to say, "Pauline, you're too vague to ever drive a car." And it wasn't exactly an insult. In fact, there was an element of truth in that. However, when I finally did start driving a car at 35 out of necessity, because I wanted to get places and I was too scared to ride my bike places, I learned to be more focused on the road. You'll be happy to know if you ever see me driving. But this is something about that happened a few days ago. And just to let you know, although I'm talking about mindfulness, I'm not standing here as a paragon of mindfulness by any means. A friend of ours always drives us to Toastmasters. And there's a Toastmaster friend in here, and I'm asking him to please keep this story in here. His name is Mike. So there are 4 of us in the car, the driver, Carol, a good friend, Sue, who is a Reiki specialist and past psychiatric nurse. She's very wise. And in the back, my husband, Dan, and me. Carol makes beautiful greeting cards, handmade. And I love sending cards, so I always wanted to buy her cards. So we're driving along. Carol's fairly quiet. And Sue said, "Carol's having a craft show this Saturday, and she's selling her cards. And I hope you're coming." Well, something about that statement, I thought in my head, Carol can speak for herself. Why is Sue speaking for her? And I had a notebook in my hand, and I reached over and I biffed Sue on the arm, and I said, "Carol can speak for herself." That was not very mindful. It was more judgmental than mindful. So at the end of our drive, when we got a ride home and Dan got out, Sue said, "That hurt." And I took it seriously, and I thought, oh dear. So the next day I had to send a letter of apology, and I said, "I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have said that." So we can slip in and out of mindfulness so easily. And we can let parts of us, our judgmental side that think, "Well, I wouldn't do that. I know better," cloud our judgment. I don't know if it ever happens to you, but I've been taking this wondrous course with Rev Lori and several other people called Absolute Abundance. And it's made me aware that a lot of times we sabotage ourselves by stepping out of mindfulness, by letting our own self-doubts and shame cloud our mindfulness of who we are and what we are. As promised in our newsletter, and I hope those watching do read the weekly newsletter that goes out by our wonderful Hilda, who just walked up here to make an adjustment. I promised 4 things today about mindfulness, and I hope to fulfill those. One is to bring you messages from spiritual leaders about mindfulness. The other is to connect mindfulness with our 12 powers. And we here at Unity, especially our prayer chaplains, have, you can see how worn it is, have become so tuned to the 12 powers within. When preparing this presentation about mindfulness, I became aware all over again of how every aspect of our 12 powers can be untapped as we become mindful of our thinking. Does it mean that you become so disciplined that you never have fun? No. But there was a time in my life when I worried about that. I thought, I don't want to plan everything and make everything routine. Mindfulness, on the contrary, sets us free. Some people often ask, why do you, Pauline, you wear purple all the time? And I say, yes, it's a sign of power. But just let me share a little bit from in here about power, because mindfulness is the secret of power. Not power over other people, power over ourselves. Just quote a little bit. Power and strength are related and may be confused if not properly understood. Strength is endurance, stability, stamina. Power is the vital energy that enables us to accomplish and to follow through. And part of power is allowing the steady supply of spiritual strength, using it, opening it, keeping it open by taking time to rest, renew, and revitalize. That's power. And we all have it, whether we wear purple or not. We all have that. Back in 2014, I was blessed to be invited by Rev Lori, and she invited many people to attend a 5-day retreat by a man called John Bruna. John Bruna is a former Buddhist monk. He's also the co-founder of the Mindful Life program and the author of The Wisdom of Meaningful Life. This is what he said about mindfulness. Mindfulness is consciously attending to the present moment with as much wisdom and clarity as possible, without bias or prejudgment, and initiating actions, body, speech, and mind, which are beneficial to and in alignment with the life we define as meaningful. That's a mouthful. There's a lady here, and she gave life, and her name's Monique. She came all the way from the Netherlands to donate her kidney to her cousin. Did that require mindfulness? You better believe it. You don't just donate an organ without thought. That's a gift of life. And we may not have organs to donate, but we have other aspects of our being to give every day. What are the rewards of being mindful? Well, mindfulness isn't difficult. We just need to remember to do it. I wish I'd invented that. That was Shirley Salzberg. And so easy to forget. Let's see. Isn't it lovely to think that in being mindful, we are befriending ourselves and our experiences? That's reward enough, isn't it? That we are saying, I love who I can be, who I am right now, this moment. And our experience right now, here in this spiritual setting, with our amazing new music director, Jim, and his wife, and back, Tanya, with her flute. Yay! To inspire us. So we are opening ourselves to experiences. And, whoops. What is more difficult than being real with ourselves? What is tougher than to take a very good look at our choices, both with what we do, what we give, what we shut out? And really, as Pema Chodron said, the essence of bravery is being without self-deception. It's so easy to fool ourselves and to say, well, this isn't really my fault that I'm not successful. It's not my fault. Something my parents did. My friends are just not cooperating. Life is against me. But to be mindful is to say, this is up to me. I have everything within that I need to achieve what I need to achieve, to be who I can be, and to tap into our power to control our own thoughts and feelings and actions. From Buddha, it's not what other people do to us that hurts us. It's our thoughts unguarded. Those thoughts that fill our minds about, oh, I'm not worth it. I'm so ashamed of what I did 2 days ago. I feel so guilty about how I treated my parent or my sibling. Those are unguarded thoughts that can flood us unless we stop and act mindfully and realize that it's part of our past, and our present right now is so filled with promise and opportunity and a chance to be who we are. Imagine the times that we're out of mindfulness. And Thich Nhat Hanh, one of my favorite sources, has said something that allows us to move away from black or white. That's not our world. Our world is not black or white. There are a lot of different shades in our world. And to categorize ourselves or other people as, oh, you're so pessimistic, or oh, you're always optimistic, is not correct. Are we real? Are we able to see reality? And sometimes it smacks you right in the face. You think, no, I don't want to see that reality. I'm going to cloud it over with bright stuff. But that's really self-deception, is it not? And reality is not always that awful, because reality has opportunity within it. And I would replace the word problem, but this isn't my quote, with the word challenge. Our challenge is to see reality as it is. Have you ever had a task and you thought it was just so annoying, just so frustrating, whether it's washing the dishes or cleaning the house or one of my vacuuming because it's so noisy. And you think, I don't want to do this. Why should I do this nasty task? And really, if you do it mindfully and you think of the positive outcomes, that people will be happy if they don't have to walk through dust and dirt, and you think you feel better if the dishes are clean, whether you do them by hand or in the dishwasher. Any task can stop being a nuisance if we do it mindfully. And someone I love and admire said that she kept thinking about this all week long. Imagine just for a moment something that distressed you, or maybe something that is distressing you right now, that is aggravating you, annoying you, gnawing away at you. Maybe it's a lack you feel in your life. Maybe it's someone you love who's ill. Maybe it's your own feeling of futility. I don't want this to be a downer, but these are all realities that we need to face, right? Maybe you feel a lack of money, or a lack of friends, or a lack of health yourself. Within that is an opportunity to learn, to grow, to expand your awareness. And it comes through mindfully remembering this is a lesson. And it won't go away until I've learned the lesson. There's nobody in this room who hasn't suffered. We've suffered losses of people dear to us. And if that happened in the past and you can look back and you can say to yourself, what did I learn from that? Maybe you learned endurance, strength, wisdom, understanding, compassion, love. So really, nothing ever goes away until it's taught us what we need to know. And maybe that happened a long time ago and it's still aggravating you, ebbing away your energy. Then maybe this is the time to practice daily meditation, daily prayer, and openness to figuring out what is that experience teaching you. Isn't this so refreshing? It's what we do in the spring. Open your windows when it's still cool outside. Allow the fresh air, new lights, and new truths to enter. And we can open our mind anytime. And there's so much good that can come in. Imagine the thrill of discovery. Discovering something new about you, or maybe a new relationship, or a new chance to develop. Now, when I read this, I like Pema Chodron, but I thought, guts? Why does it take guts to enjoy nature? Who loves nature in here? Everybody loves nature, so why would it take guts? Well, I think perhaps she was saying that we don't have to have extravagant pleasures to enjoy life. Sure, it's nice to have attractive clothing and a nice home and maybe even a holiday away. Those are all nice. But nature's free. It doesn't cost anything. Are we too busy seeking something else that we forget to rejoice in the moment? Our dear greeter, Elaine, asked me what I was wearing around my neck. And this was a gift from my stepdaughter. The only gift she's ever sent me. And I was very touched because it's a little purple flower. And she knows I like purple, but she knows that Dan and I love camping in a tent. You know that. And I don't say you have to do that, but just today step outside and listen to the birds sing. Look at the green grass. Look up at the sky. That's being mindful. And maybe it seems simple to do, and for some it is simple, but it also takes the willingness to step aside from the hustle bustle just for a moment. And that's what this is about. Live in the moment, live in the breath. And have the wisdom and understanding to do that. And just to go back for a moment, there's an order and a balance in nature that is sometimes missing when we mess it up. So maybe just to enjoy that order and balance, which is one of our strengths, one of our powers. This is my final slide. And I think it says something to us. The stiller you are, the calmer life is. And in being mindful, we can always choose to still our anxiety. I say always, although there are times, maybe you've experienced them, when you felt so anxious, so stressed, that you needed professional help. And there's no shame in that. My own self went through that. And that was a lesson that I needed to learn. At our prayer chaplain retreat this summer, I don't know if you can see this from the back, Rev Lori always puts out lovely pieces, lovely items that we can color. And I like to color. So although it's simple coloring, the message really leaves us with something for today. Look for beauty. When you look in the mirror, look for beauty. I mean, look. Listen with love and live with intention. Look for beauty. Listen with love and live with intention. And I promised 5 exercises, and I'll share those during the meditation. I also have a few copies if you want copies of the exercises. And so we now go into meditation. I invite you to sit with feet uncrossed. You can put your arms where they feel comfortable, maybe at your side. And Rev Lori always says thumb and index finger touching, but be open to the meditation. And we'll start, I'll just share 5 mindful exercises from Alfred James. Breathing is the first. And the act of breathing in, down to your diaphragm, breathing in goodness, energy, love, the spiritual power of everyone around you, breathing it in, and breathing out your own love, your own generosity of spirit, your own sharing, your own attitude of mindfulness with other people. Observing. When you leave today, observe something in nature. Observe its beauty. Maybe observe its fragrance, its form, its balance in the universe. Connect with that energy. And in your mind right now, perhaps you see a tall tree overflowing with green leaves, or maybe burgundy leaves. And looking at that overflow of greenery, or maybe flowers in your garden that are in full bloom, you can take a moment to think of yourself as blooming, energetic, full of life and color. As you develop awareness of any negative thoughts, use your power to eliminate them, to release them, and to practice listening to yourself. Listen to what your inner voice is saying. And if it's that nasty little voice saying you can't, you're not worth it, then you eliminate that with our power of elimination, and you replace it with an affirmative. Derek Chopra said, the best way to be in the present moment is to be aware that you're not in the moment. For the next few moments of silence, I invite you to be aware of all the wondrous parts of your life that you are grateful for. Let the images of the people you care about, the nature that you enjoy and appreciate, flood your mind. And as that is happening, you're saying to yourself, I am aware, I appreciate, I accept all in my life. I am aware, I appreciate, I accept all in my life. And because we talked about nature and appreciating all that is in nature, I invite you to visualize yourself walking in a green meadow. Everything is lush and abundant. There are trees in the distance, trees that are strong, tall, with leaves blowing in a slight wind. And as you walk through this forest, as you observe nature, the harmony, the beauty, the tranquility. Some of that essence of nature is being absorbed by you as you consider your own ability to be tranquil, to be strong, to be beautiful. As you continue walking, you hear the sound of water, waves, and as you walk to the end of the forest and look ahead, you see a wide, calm lake. Calm except for waves lapping the shore. And as you look at those waves coming and gently striking the shore, you think of your life, of the events that affect you and then move on, affect you and then move on. You look at the different shades of water color, and you think of your own self with your many different moods, many different aspects to your personality. And with insight, wisdom, and love, you accept you as you are right now. Beautiful, changing, open. You realize that you can live in the moment meaningfully, that you can indeed love openly, that you can indeed find stillness and calm through being meaningful and mindful of yourself, of others, and of your spiritual essence. And we say, so it is. Amen.
Alleluia, 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 alleluia,
Now it's our time for giving and receiving our tithes and offerings. Let us affirm our prosperity together as our greeters pass our offering bags. If you have been holding an intention card, we ask that you place it in the offering bag as well. We see those intentions unfolding now. Intention cards are available at the back of the sanctuary and are a statement of what you want to achieve, either as a plan for today or your life. Let us now stand and sing.
Thine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is.
God is my source, and I am blessed.
Well, this tune is one by Daniel Namont, who's a particular favorite of Reverend Laurie's, and it's a very neat song because it talks about what happens in this room and the way that I hope that we all feel about what happens in this room. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. I'm getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. In the right place at the right time. I'm just what I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm just what I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. But I'm getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. I'm getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, we're all welcome here at Unity.
That's true. Our soul is welcome here. So let's bless our tithes and offerings. We go to our heart space and we feel the joy of giving, whether it's giving of our energy, which is in the form of money, giving of love, giving of patience, giving of kindness, doing a kindful deed. We love to give. And so we bless everyone who has given, both here, through the mail, online, however it is that the gift is given. We are grateful. We know that God is abundant. We cannot outgive God, and for this truth we are grateful. Thank you, sweet Spirit. Amen. And let's stand and sing.
Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be with God as creator. Family all are we. Let's walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me.
And so when you leave this place today, be mindful of Pauline's invitation for us to be totally in the moment, looking around, seeing nature, hearing the birds, and just feeling the joy that that brings us before we take our next step to the next thing that we do. We are mindful, present, and we're blessed for this message and for the knowing. Amen. So our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Yay, God.
And just a quick note of welcome to Tanya. It's great to have you back. Have you with us. Spread the word of what unity can offer. Spread the word of the message that you heard. Spread the word, what it means to you in your life. Spread the word, spread the word, spread the word, spread the word. The things we shared this morning, spread the word. And you're surrounded here by love. Spread the word, that our doors and hearts are open. Spread the word, spread the word, spread the word, spread the word. To anyone who's lost and lonely, spread the word as you go forward. From this family, spread the word. Spirit welcomes all who come here. Spread the word, spread the word, spread the word, spread the word. Of all the things we shared this morning, spread the word. That you're surrounded here by love. Spread the word, that our doors and hearts are open. Spread the word, spread the word, spread the word. Spread the word, spread the word, spread the word. Spread the word, spread the word, spread